The Mandalorian, Season 3, Episode 3. Episode 3 starts off in a pretty exciting way. We have a dogfight with the Mandalorian and Bo-Katan, because the Empire have returned. I'm thinking, yay, the Empire are back. That's fun. That's stuff from Season 1 and 2. The Empire versus the Mandalorian. The big dog versus the little dogs. It's exciting. I'm intrigued. I'm just enjoying this whole segment. But unfortunately, it's short-lived because this episode surprisingly and randomly cuts away to Dr. Pershing, who used to work for the Empire, but now he works for the New Republic, but he's not satisfied in his work because he wants to carry on his cloning research. This episode is the longest yet of this season, at about 50 minutes long, and it spends about 40 of those minutes with Dr. Pershing in what was an incredibly boring and just disjointed episode, and probably the most boring episode of The Mandalorian that we've had out of the 3 seasons. It was just very poor. For some reason, we spend a whole episode with a character that we only ever saw a few times briefly in the past. There was no build-up to this. There was no hint that we would be traveling in this direction with this character. But yeah, we just spend a whole episode with him and a former Imperial officer that used to work under Moff Gideon. I honestly had no idea why we were seeing this. This episode started off so exciting, and then it's like someone switched the channel to this person who just works on Coruscant and is living quite a boring life, and he's just not happy with his life because he wants to still do his own research. Don't get me wrong, I like this character in a small role, but you know, as like a whole episode dedicated to him, I just don't think it works. This is The Mandalorian, not The Mandalorian and Dr. Pershing show, so I don't really know why we've done this. His story, of course, is that he doesn't feel that fulfilled working for the New Republic. He believed heavily in the research he was doing for the Empire. Not that he supports the Empire, but he just believed in his research of cloning. So he wants to carry on his research of cloning, and then this Imperial officer will help him get the equipment and whatnot so he can, you know, fulfill his legacy and his life dream, I guess. She just wants to help him. But she does choose to betray him, and I'm not entirely sure why she does. If I had to guess, I would say her angle is she still believes in the Empire. She's secretly working for Moff Gideon, and she wants someone that's working for the New Republic to not have the knowledge of cloning, and for that to just be an Empire secret, so that's why she tries to brainwash him at the end of this episode, wipe his mind, if I had to guess. Point is, I think she's still evil, and, you know, she has that menacing look in her eye and whatnot, so I think that's probably, you know, pretty guaranteed that she's still a baddie. But really, they didn't need to spend a whole episode on this boring side story. I think they really, if they wanted to reintroduce this theme, they could have done it in a much shorter and effective way, because they waste so much time with these two characters just bonding just for her to betray him anyway, so I don't really see the point of them bonding with each other. I just think they really could, like, you know, there's a whole segment of them just walking around Coruscant eating a lollipop. Like, what is the point? We do eventually return to Mando and Bo-Katan as they go to, you know, the Mandalorian's, like, special creed, and they bring back the holy water, and they, like, say that they're forgiven and that Bo-Katan can enjoy the creed because she hasn't technically taken her helmet off since she bathed in the sacred waters, so they're good to go. Then once again the episode ends and I feel no direction for the series whatsoever. I cannot see what the next, like, no one knows what the next episode is going to entail. It never leaves it on like a little cliffhanger where you're like, okay, so this is their next step. No, it's random. Are we going to spend another hour with Dr. Pershing and the Empire girl? Are we just going to chill with the Mandalorian as they, you know, just chat about Mandalore? It just feels like we could go anyway, and this episode has left me quite disappointed because it just doesn't feel like we're heading in any real direction, and Grogu just feels kind of pointless this season. It doesn't really feel like he's doing much. It doesn't feel like he is the objective in any way anymore. He's just tagging along, and he can't really do much except use the Force from time to time. And also, as I mentioned last week, I just feel like the tone of this show has dropped off a bit. It feels just a bit, you know, like kiddie, and like it's trying to be fun and uplifting, you know, like just based on like the soundtrack choices at times, it just feels like it's not that dark and serious as it used to be. It used to feel so gritty, this show, honestly. Even though it's still Disney Star Wars, it's going to have elements of it that aren't that gritty, but overall as a show, it felt quite gritty and dark compared to a lot of other things. But now it just doesn't feel that way anymore. It just feels like it wants to be like a fun, cheap entertainment show. This episode wasn't awful, you know, as I say, the special effects and all that stuff still good. It's watchable, but it was very boring, and I wasn't really feeling it all that much. I would give today's episode, or well, this isn't the day it came out, but I would give episode 3 a 6 out of 10. It's not looking good for The Mandalorian right now. I'd be amazed if they made an episode worse than this season, but you know, it's not looking good. They really need to fix things because we're nearly at the halfway point and it's not looking good for the 3rd season of this show. If you've seen it, let me know what you think about it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.